Okay, people. So this has been on the docket for a minute, right? I've been wanting to check out The Woman King, man, ever since it dropped at the end of last year. You know, it was just like, I think after Black Panther, you know what I mean? Which just showed what could be done. You were just like, yo, I'm ready for more just incredible films. And The Woman King was sold as being like the realistic Black Panther. You know what I mean? Like Black Panther without the magic herb and all of this kind of stuff. This is based on history. This shit actually happened. So, yo, I've now watched it, people. I've now done it. Right? It is directed by the great Gina Prince-Bythewood, written by Dana Stevens and Maria Bello. Um, the film is then produced by Julius Tennant, Kathy Shulman, right? Viola Davis and Maria Bello. It is co-produced by Dale Butler and Jansen de Rosner, and executive produced by Peter McAleese. Terence Blanchard handled the music, Polly Morgan cinematography, Terry Lynn A. Shropshire edited the piece, Aisha Cooley was on casting, Aiken Mackenzie production design, right? Where am I? Where am I? Boy, I'm all over the place at the moment, people. Art direction, we've got James Collett, Christoph Dahlberg, Tarian McCain, Moira McGregor, Catherine Palmer, Malawandi Sigabi, and Mark O'Donovan. Set decoration, we have Dai Sol and Biri LaRue. Costume design is Gersha Phillips. And the cast was crazy, right? Viola Davis is Nancia. Fuzi Mobedu is Nawi. Ngozi is played by Lashana Lynch. We've got Amenza, played by Sheila Atim. King Gizo is played by John Bayoga. Malik is played by Jordan Bolger. Santo Ferreira is played by Hero Finds Tiffin. Oba Ade is played by Jimmy Uduka. Fombi is played by Mazilla Baduza. Shante is played by Jamie Lawson. Ode is played by Adrian Warren. Tara is played by Chimona Antoinette Umelea. Sindra is played by Simamfananda Makakana. Essie, played by Cheyenne West. All right, the Migan is played by Sivalnes Negsi. The Miu is played by Sepatula Sebudi. Tanu is Rian Reisman. The Menun is right. Angelique Kidju, right? A young Nazansi is played by Wanda Banda, and a young Amenza is played by Lefabu. All right. So yeah, I mean, there's a whole heap of talented actresses and actors up in this joint. So yeah, I don't think we really have time to go through everyone, but the gist of the story is right. It's about the Agojie, right? The all-female unit of warriors who protected the African Kingdom of Dahomey in the 1800s with skills and a fierceness unlike anything the world has ever seen. Inspired by true events, The Woman King follows the emotional epic journey of General Nanisca as she trains the next generation of recruits and readies them for battle against an enemy determined to destroy their way of life. Some things are worth fighting for. So, yeah, there you go. There you go, right? Now, right, Gina Prince-Bythewood. I mean, from the giddy up, I've been down with this woman, man. Like she wrote on a different world, which I love the different world, man. I wasn't wholly a Cosby fan. You know what I mean? Watched Cosby back in the day, but different world was where it was at for me, you know? It was so fun, man. So fun. And then one of my favorite films, legitimately one of my favorite films, Love and Basketball. Yo, that's all her. So, you know what I mean? I've been on that radar from Giddy Up, man. And yeah, so anything she's directing, I'm going to check out for real. Right. Then, like Maria Bello, yo, I just forgot all the things she has been in, right? Payback with Mel Gibson back in. I enjoyed that film, right? Ugly Coyote, which should have hated, but again, I enjoyed it. The Cooler, yo. If you haven't seen the Cooler is William H. Macy is superb in this. This film is so good, so good. So she has been in some great films, man. You know, and then Dana Stevens, you know, she's written a lot of high profile, you know, films like Fatherhood. We looked at a couple of years back, right? That Kevin Hart joint, right? Life or Something Like It, you know. She wrote on The World Is Not Enough, right? That James Bond film. So yeah, she's, you know what I mean? So we got a talented group of people behind the scenes on this, right? That's not even getting behind the cast. So, you know, like I feel that is reflected in what we have. This looks and feels epic, right? Looks and feels epic, right? We open up with this huge fight scene, which definitely gets the adrenaline going, right? And I think the fight scenes, like the training, all of that for me is where this film truly shines, right? That's the shit, right? It's kind of, you know, emotionally on that front, it kind of hits you like 300. You know what I mean? That's what this is kind of is. It's the female 300. Um, and both kind of, you know, based around real shit, right? Spartans, the Agojie, you know. So yeah, I love that element of it. You know, it was great, and I think especially as because I think if you're doing fight scenes which are solely on strength, it's not gonna work. But a lot of the techniques of the Agojie was like speed and body weight defense. Now, in all reality, they did use a lot of bow and arrows. All right, in this film, they're using more swords and daggers and that kind of thing, which I get, right? It makes it more cinematic, you know? Have close action fighting rather than range fighting. The range fighting can be cool, definitely be cool. There's art in that shit for sure. But I can see why they went this way. Now, the story itself, supposedly, it came because Bello, she took a trip to the Kingdom of Benin, you know, which is where Dahomey is now, right? Because you look, it's all colonialism, the French and everything like that. So, yeah, you know, the French did their colonial thing, you know, like everyone else was doing, you know, the British, the Belgium, the Belgians, Belgianums. Why? Fuck. What do you call the Belgium? The Flemish. Yes, it's the Flemish, right? I think it's the Flemish. Anyway, like everyone was doing this shit, right? And so, yeah, Dome got, you know, basically consumed by the surrounding spots, and now it's in Benin. So she went there and learned about everything, right? The Agojie, you know, fascinated. So then she was like, "Oh, I need to write this story." So yeah, you know, it's like I do enjoy the fact that uh like the story isn't real, but it's based on reality. This thing actually happened, right? It was a nation that for like years and years and years and years was not defeated. You know, a bit like Wakanda. You know what I mean? That's fire, man. That's fire. I mean, it's things people don't always know, right? You do have that murky head of slavery there. You know, some of that, not true, right? They made their money from slavery, right? They didn't really stop. Um, it's one of those things, like you understand why it happened, right? It's just a fuckeries kind of situation. But yeah, you know, it's there in the story, so it's pretty great. I think the melodrama is some of the stuff that I wasn't feeling as much, right? Now, don't get me wrong, the acting is great. Acting is great. It's just that thing, right? Because you've got the Naui character, and she's pugnacious, right? Belligerent. You kind of feel in a warrior society that shit don't cut it. You know what I mean? People aren't gonna be like, oh, having a temper tantrum. You know what I mean? Doing not obeying all. It's just like no, 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 no. You know what I mean? And you know, right through history, when people did certain things on the battleground that weren't, you know, kosher, weren't legit, weren't what the officers were saying, you know, they weren't put on a naughty step. You know what I mean? You could get killed for that shit. So a lot of the melodrama and some of the stuff didn't necessarily always make sense, right? Like, oh, I'm doing it to be noticed. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't. I'm not buying that. I don't know if a tooth would stay in the body for that if it's that shallow. Like, I kind of feel the skin's gonna push that out. You know what I mean? So there's little things like that, which then you have stuff, you know, which when you see, you understand. Okay, we're gonna see that later on, right? Like, don't go back to help people, right? Just things like that, right? You know, okay, there's gonna be something in the film which deals with that, right? You just know those things. So yeah, I mean, some of that stuff doesn't, like, it's fine. Wasn't my favorite parts of the film, right? I love the score. I really enjoyed the music created for this film. I didn't like the fact that in a lot of scenes it is a little heavy on the we are sad now. This is emotional now. Right? That I felt that bugged me a little bit, Not too much, but a little bit. Yeah, but as I said, for me, the true strengths of this film is the fighting scenes, the action, that side of it, right? The whole the king, the title of the woman king, like that stuff. I'm there for that stuff. So yes, I think if you enjoy the 300, if you enjoy the Black Panther, right? If those films are your jam, the Scorpion King from back in the day, you know what I mean? That little mummy spin-off, which I enjoyed, man. I like that film. The first one, do not go near any of those sequels. They were not good, right? I only tried the second one, but I think there was a third and a fourth. You know, it was those direct to DVD days, you know what I mean? But yes, if those films you enjoy, I think you will get on board with The Woman King. You know, there is enough about it that works, that will keep you there. Yeah, like as I said, look, the melodrama stuff, the side story about that I could have done without that. I mean, because it's just like the chances of, right, when you're doing stuff like that, it's always what are the chances that shit's gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna come across that I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, everything else, I'm about it. Right. So yes, if that's your bag, people, and like me, you're a big fan of Gina Prince-Bythewood, you're a fan of this cast, you'll want to see it. Another thing I did enjoy, right? They didn't try to make Viola Davis be all young, right? Because Viola Davis is late 50s, right? So when you had the scenes in the hot tub and stuff, she did look old, right? I mean, hey, not saying she's looking haggard. I'm just saying she looks older. You know what I mean? They're not trying to pretend that she's this young, sprightly woman. She looked older. And I was like, okay, that's good. I dig that. It was weird people going into the baths clothed. I'm a bit like, I don't think they're gonna do that. But yo, I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? It's not like, yo, I want to see all these women naked. No, but it was just an odd thing. You know what I mean? Like if you're showing people in baths, why the fuck are people gonna be clothed? You know what I mean? But yes, I thought that was good, and it was more skill. The fighting had to be skill because she's older, so she hasn't got the same strength as some of these younger cats, right? But yeah, people, for the most part, I enjoyed The Woman King. You know, I enjoyed The Woman King. It's not my favorite film, but it's solid. It's solid. So yes, you will be able to find it all over the place. Prime Now TV. I think it's on Netflix in the States. So yeah, if like me, you're a little bit late to the game, now's your chance to go get yourself a little history with The Woman King.